Joining me here at Hollywood Casino at the Meadows, my special guest is Dave Palone, poised for the 20,000th career driving win, a major milestone. And Dave, first off, welcome up here. And to my surprise, you've never in your entire career been up to the roof to see this view.
No, this is the first time. I've talked to the judges many times in my life, but never in their home office.
Now you see that great view they have of you catching that pylon coming off the
Sure.
last turn. Yeah. So when I mentioned this to you earlier in the week, you've had so many milestones: 5,000 wins, 10,000 wins, breaking Hervé Fillon's North American record, breaking the world record. All along, I know you don't really like the build-up and the countdown to the milestones. But when I asked you about coming on the show earlier in the week, to my surprise, you said, this time it's different, and I don't mind it. What's different about this one?
You know what? Mark Weaver gave me a text the other day afterwards and just kind of gave me a pep talk, told me to enjoy it, and I'm really trying to do it that way. You know what I mean? Instead of put the eye on myself and put any extra added pressure, I'm just really pretty relaxed and enjoying the moment.
Well, the last two times you were trying to break a record. Now every win is a record for you, and now it's just hitting a milestone. Did you at any point think that 20,000 was a possibility?
Jeff, I am 1,000,000 to 1 to be sitting here. I mean, Greene County, no horse background. My father was a car dealer, and he just wanted to get horses as a hobby and drug me along to the track, and I fell in love with it. He had a box at the grandstands, and his guy next to him was a fellow named Mike DeMaria. And Mike and my father got some horses and got me started, and it took off from there. You know, I was super fortunate that early in my career I somehow got hooked up with Mark Goldberg. I don't know whether he saw some talent or just got tired of me claiming his horses, and he gave me an opportunity. And we all know what a excellent horseman Mark is, not just to drive for, but he used to plot the races out before me before we got started, and he was an excellent teacher.
Well, you have a piece of paper in front of you, and that was, I gave you an opportunity to do this because when you win the big race, of course, I'll be out in the winner's circle to interview you, but in the heat of that type of moment, it's easy to forget people that you want to thank. So I told you yesterday, I said, think about who you want to thank along the way, because this is your opportunity now to kind of do that without forgetting anyone, or if you do now, that's really on you. But who helped get you to this point? I mean, there's a countless number on that list, but who are some of the key ones?
It's really crazy. I mean, how much time do you have? Do you want to start with Herman Halkema, who was my father's first trainer, that really taught me the right way to do things, and how to get things done the right way. He was a terrific horseman, and helped me so much. As far as locally and getting drivers, I thought we had an unbelievable driving colony, and Dickie Stillings and Doug Snyder and my father-in-law Bill Zent. I mean, learning from these guys from the bottom up was invaluable. And I got to go to the Meadowlands after that and watch the Campbells and O'Donnells and the best drivers in the world race, and then was lucky enough to fall back here, and it's always been one lucky break for me after another. The horsemen were terrific. They welcomed me back. I was on a lot of horses, racing a lot of horses, having some success, and I stumbled onto a guy named Ronnie Burke, who, incidentally, we grew up 10 minutes from each other. His father was a car dealer, Mickey, and my dad were friends. And from the first time I saw Ronnie train a horse, I knew he was going to have success, and I was lucky to get on that bandwagon. And where do you want me to go from there? I could thank my doctors that put me back together for all the wrecks. My wife, the greatest wife. Everybody knows Beth Ann and how positive she is and stuff. I could have never done any of this without her. You know me, I'm psycho. Have a bad day, go home. And next thing you know, you got 10 lists. Go spread the manure, cut the grass, go get feed for Blackie. So she never, she never let me, get down on myself, and she's been my biggest supporter. And my 3 girls, they're terrific, and they're here rooting Dad on. And I wish my dad was here to see the milestone. My mom was here yesterday. She's going to be here. Jeff, I could just go on. Roger Houston, he's been in my corner from the get-go. I understand, he may be here today. and root me on. I hope I don't let everybody down, you know. There's just so many people that I walked into the paddock the other day and I seen all the grooms working how hard on their horses and the trainers, and you know, I'm so lucky I come in and jump on and just get to go, you know, and they put all the extra work in. I think about how many races I won by maybe that much because, you know, the groom took the extra time to put the horse in the boots, or took time to turn it out, or all the veterinarians, blacksmiths, go on and on. You know, I don't want to sound corny, but all the people in the paddock that work over there. I miss my buddy Bobby Sutton. I wish he was still there, but I love Lisa, you know, sitting over there with her every day. I'm going to miss this when I walk away without getting emotional, you know. Friends, my buddy Scotty Abalafia, I wish he was here for this, you know. But yeah, it's the more I think about it, it's really humbling, and I've been so lucky. That's the main word. I've been so lucky.
Well, to change gears a little bit, you've been doing this for a lot of years, and you've been at the top of your game. I know it's one of those questions people want to know, well, what advice can you give to a young driver? Well, first off, you've got to have the talent, but you've also got to have the horses, and as you just said, the support system. But what advice can you give somebody younger as far as how to keep doing this for so many years? Because that's really what has helped you, is the longevity that you've been able to do this year after year at the top of your game.
Yeah, number one, you have to really pay attention. If you're not in a race, you know, you really have to be dialed in the race. Maybe you'll learn something about a horse you're going to race next week, or you'll see something that maybe will open up an opportunity to beat a horse that you think you have to beat the following week. You have to show up. You have to be there for qualifiers.
I mean, physically, it has to take a toll.
Yeah, you have to keep yourself in shape. I'm 60 and pretty beat up, but I feel like I'm in pretty good shape for a 60-year-old. And it's just a love of doing it. You know what I mean? My biggest fear is, what am I going to do when I step away from this? You know, I'm really good buddies with Wally Hennessy, and we've been back and forth, and I'm looking forward to seeing him on next Sunday at the Hall of Fame. But he's a good buddy, and we kick things back and forth, and everybody knows how good Wally is, and we're about the same age, and we keep each other pumped up. So, you know, it's just a matter of, you have to show up every day prepared and realize that those people have worked 7 days to get that horse ready for this race. The least you can do when you hit the racetrack is be prepared.
Well, the big question that a lot of people want to know, and I'm not asking it, but the big question, of course, is when you're going to step away and eventually end this historic career. My question to you is not when, but how will you know? What are the signs? What do you think is going to be the thing that tells you when it's time to cut back a little bit?
I honestly don't know. It's different every morning I wake up, you know. I'll be out there in the rain and the mud and getting my brains beat in and think, boy, what am I doing out here at 60 years old? This is a young man's game. And then, you know, you'll bounce back and have a good night, and you just think, boy, am I going to miss this when I'm done, you know? And all the older horsemen say, whatever you do, don't just walk away, you know? And that's the nice thing. It's not like a Tom Brady or a Gronk where, you know, they get called back if they step away and, you know, and abused for coming out of retirement. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Because you have a couple of people to look at. You've got John Campbell, who stayed tremendously involved in the sport, now running the Hamiltonian Society. But you've got Ron Pierce, who I think he was in a cabin in the woods somewhere. Nobody knows quite where Ron is, but you know, you've got those two extremes, and kind of anything in between as your options.
Yeah, two good friends too. Everybody knows I'm a big John fan, and he was my hero. And you know, the times when I was down, got hurt, banged up, you know, he was nice enough to call me and coach me through it. And Ronnie, we still talk, and everybody knows what a character he is. I miss those days. You know, those were the guys that I grew up idolizing and racing in the big races with. And I'm not so much in the big races anymore, but you know, I have memories with those guys. But yeah, it's going to be tough to walk away, really tough. But you know, I know Father Time's undefeated, so eventually it's going to happen, sooner rather than later.
Approaching 20,000 and still leading the track here as far as percentage, as far as wins. Is it still fun for you? It
is. It's tremendous fun, and it's a great bunch of guys. And like I said, I enjoy my time in the paddock, just sitting there and busting each other's chops in between races or whatever, just like a locker room, you know, mentality. And I don't know what I'm going to do to kill a day. You know, I play golf bad, and I'm not going to quit that. So, you know, why should I quit this fully? I love the horses, I love golf, and I love being 4 minutes away from the racetrack and turning the page when I'm done and going watching my kids in some event or competition. And I got the best of it. I've really never beat myself up, Jeff, too much up and down the road. You know, I've done some traveling, but it was never to the extent where I really went 2-a-days and killed myself. So I'm a fresh 60.
All right. Well, Dave Palone, congratulations on what you've accomplished so far, of course, and what you'll hopefully accomplish here in the next day or a couple of days, depending upon how this Saturday card goes. But thanks for coming up, joining me on the broadcast. Dave Palone, 19,998 career wins entering our Saturday card. We'll see what happens here this afternoon at the Meadows.